What's up, In the Loop? It's Hyde checking in from these giant aircraft hangars. We are outside Dayton, Ohio, the National Museum of the Air Force. They have everything from planes from 100 years ago, then through all the different wars and battles, all the way up to current day, and some space program and all those hangars. Best part is free parking and it's free to go in. So why not check it out? Let's head inside and see probably hundreds of planes. Here's a map of this facility. Now, each of those bays, 1, 2, 3, and 4, are giant aircraft hangars. And you can see each one's kind of themed to different areas. And we'll start in one and work the video through from left to right, going through each era of aviation. First up is the early years. And just first up, I think I'll also show just how huge this place is. I mean, these are giant aircraft hangars, so of course they're huge. I think 1.1 million square feet, I think is what he said. Largest indoor military museum. Because planes are big. So it is all done like chronologically. So this is the early years, if you can't tell by these planes right here. Being that we're in Dayton, Dayton is obviously home to the Wright brothers, or they called home rather. So there are some Wright brother pieces around the museum, as well as nearby some of their famous sites, their bicycle shop and all that kind of stuff. So while this is a military museum, the Wright brothers obviously play a big part in the history of aviation. The observation balloon is like a weird looking hot air balloon. Looks kind of normal there, but then you look up and it's like, nope, it's a giant Zeppelin. When you think of the attack on Pearl Harbor, you think of the attack on a Navy base, but there's actually attacks on some of the airfields nearby as well. And here's one of the planes, and that is the fighter pilot who, still in his pajamas, ran out of bed to jump in this aircraft to go to battle. So yeah, still in pajamas, woken up in the morning, jumped in the aircraft. Walking into the World War II section. Again, giant hangar with countless planes as far as the eye can see. It's interesting how, you know, as we go through time, the planes get bigger and bigger. It's also interesting how they like fit so many planes in here. I mean, these planes are just feet apart. It's also neat how, you know, they have like a little like setup with guys here and some props to just kind of show you what it actually will look like loading this thing. So this is quite the interesting plane. This is the actual plane that dropped the second atomic bomb, the one that was dropped on Nagasaki. You know, it's just crazy to see something so unassuming like this in a aircraft hangar in Dayton, Ohio, that shaped history so much. A similar atomic bomb, obviously has been, they call it demilitarized, is here on display, but painted to look like the one that was dropped. There's a photo of what it looked like. Moving through time, we are now at the Korean War. Now this part of the museum is just one giant aircraft hangar. You can see that all the way over to the Southeast Asia War. We'll check that out in a second. You got this giant aircraft there. Just so big, so many airplanes everywhere you look. What's also neat is too is it's not just airplanes. They have stuff like here, a lot of like engines and other like artifacts. You know, what they would wear, all kinds of stuff. Really hard to show a video, but man, this is a large plane. It's probably at least 40 or 50 feet tall there. You just see how monstrous this is, but U.S. Air Force, giant like transport plane. Moving into the Vietnam War area. Big aircraft there. starting to resemble a little bit more of what we're used to today. The first type of like self-guiding missiles. You can see the little camera. They would like lock in on an image, and then that camera would course correct to find its way down to the target. Must have took someone really smart to figure out how to fit all this in here. You can see this helicopter is like barely clear in the airplane, goes underneath it, and then there's another helicopter that's sitting underneath, or a plane that's sitting underneath that. I guess that's how you fit in like the hundreds of aircrafts they have. We've entered the next massive hangar / exhibit hall, and this is the Cold War time frame. A lot definitely feels colder in here just because there's not a lot of color. The first few rooms had a lot of color to it. You know, planes were painted a lot of fun colors. This is where it gets into more of the gray color, but you still see like a giant airplane there. You still got like these strange like water rescue planes up there. Dennis the Menace painting on the side of this aircraft. We are now in the post-Cold War section, which would be like Gulf Coast War or the Iraqi War. And this is a civilian plane that they said they turned into military surveillance, and you can kind of see in the windows there, it's unarmed, but they fly it at super low altitudes with a bunch of spotters and radar to pick up things. The Nighthawk stealth style aircraft. Not a pretty looking thing. I guess the point was for no one to see it, so it didn't have to look pretty. As part of the Cold War section, they do have pieces from the actual Berlin Wall. We are in the missile gallery, and quite big. What do you say, probably 75 feet, 100 feet tall? This one's called the Peacekeeper. It says, kind of shows how they're launched. Moving into the final room, there is a space section. Here is a capsule from the Apollo missions. Spacesuit from Apollo 11. We have a giant rocket here, probably at least like 100 yards long, all the way down there. And then there's the side rocket boosters that was used to send payloads up into space, satellites and the like. Crazy how big it is. This might be the biggest plane I've ever seen. This thing's massive. You got tiny. Looks like an alien saucer. This is actually something built in partnership with Canada that did vertical landings and takeoffs. So kind of like an alien saucer. They have a collection of a couple of the planes that were used as Air Force One for the various presidents. I assume this is the most recent one because it's the biggest. You can see some of the other ones back there. Let's go check it out. One of the planes is called the Independence. This flew Truman. I like the slick paint job on it. This Air Force One was built, is the first one built specifically to carry a president. Kennedy was the first one to use it. It might be most famous for, this is where Johnson was sworn in on after the Kennedy assassination. But really big, really cool. It was in use for 36 years, and then it came to the museum in the mid-90s. And with that, that wraps up our visit to the museum here. The giant museum. Bring your walking shoes. But, you know, it is a free museum to go into. Free parking, like I said at the top of the video. So, can't complain. And it's very well done. Very big. I would say, you know, you could spend upwards of like a full day here if you wanted to in reading everything. Or, you know, we read quite a bit and did quite a bit of glancing and got in and out in about 2 hours or so. So I plan accordingly. But overall, a great experience. Much bigger than I expected, much more exhibits than I expected. I expected just a bunch of planes sitting around, but there was a lot of infographs and TV monitors and props and you know, engines and stuff like that, not necessarily all just planes. So really cool. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching.